sense. Okay, so it's 4 slides.
Yeah. So I started the recording, and can you see the slide for the product?
Mhm.
Or I can share the screen. If you can open, I don't have to share the screen, right?
I can share my screen so we can have a look on the slides, and you will just let me know
Yes.
which slide you want to show.
Yeah, we can go one by one.
Okay, that's fine to me.
Yeah. So the company is like it's called Mosaic Flow Technologies. So the purpose of this product is try to have automated sample preparation process in the lab or in the companies. So with this product, you can extract the analyze from the DNA or proteins, and it can be used for different samples and for different protocols. So what's who should be the market for the products would be the biotech companies and pharmatech companies, or the healthcare like the AHS or genetics, or these are the tech markets. And so the benefits of the product is the automated system, and it's very flexible, and it has the potential for the end-to-end sample preparation. That's the instruction of the product, and that's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what we discussed initially. I will not make a long comment because I want you to present all those slides. But yes, I'm more into DNA extraction, and I agree. I want to have a solution which is portable, so basically that could fit a suitcase. I want something which is robust and low cost, so we could have typically a system, potentially consumables, so potentially cartridges or stuff like this, so we can remove what was used in case of, for instance, HIV positive samples, or some if there are some clinical risk, we want to be able to clean the system, either because we can clean it completely or because there are some cartridges we can throw away. So that would be very interesting to me. And I am very interested in applying this to human genetics. So in particular, to be able to perform genetic testing in the field for my customers.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So this is a perfect example of the if you look at the second slide, um, can you, yeah, this is a very the schematic about how you prepare the sample. You just have, is it like what you say, you just have a microfluidic cartridge, and you can have a setup, you can do your sample preparation using the cartridge. Right?
Yeah, so we discussed a little bit about the cartridge itself, the microfluidic cartridge, but so far I don't have a good understanding on what's in the box, what's happening, if it's ultrasonic wave, heating system, pressure, or so I don't know what's exactly inside the box. So I will not be able to understand really the pros and cons of the technology and to adjust it to my business. But it's probably a discussion which we will have later on once we have signed a NDA.
So the idea is that you can load your samples in the microfluidic cartridge, and you don't have to pipette. So that's all automatic. And if you use if you use the put the cartridge in the device, that can change the. I think from my understanding that you can change the temperature. That's maybe the most important factor. Also, you can also change other the parameters. I think that's my understanding of the design of the device.
Okay. And as discussed before, I'm happy to provide a kind of a business case and even some material so we can test the efficiency of lysis and stuff like this.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, these two are the instruction of the product, and here we just have the company comparison of the products with those from competitors. I think the main difference is that the advantage of this one was the idea that you can have the end-to-end device for the sample preparation, and there's another alternative which people are using, like you can use auto pipette or the digital microfluidics. So the advantage that for this you can use the microfluidics for all the sample preparation, and it's cheaper than digital microfluidics. I think that's how you compare the products with the competitors.
Yeah, one point which is not here and that we discussed before is that potentially I'd like to have a system which is scalable. So if we could have a box that we can stack, so you have several units.
Yes.
That would be great. Either several units and it's random access for each of the unit, or you can load several cartridge in advance and you have a system that is able to run several cartridges. Typically at Circagene, we work with batches of 12 to 24 samples. And that would be great. So it means the base instrument, if you can load it by the front and not by the top, so you can stack instrument, that would be really convenient. Another comment is obviously, as we would love to have a system which we can deploy anywhere. It's we need low constraints on the electricity and stuff like this. So if it can be compatible with car batteries or stuff like this, it would be great.
So your point that you won't have the parallel analysis and you won't have a low volume of your sample or low concentration. Right?
Yeah. So I don't know how you will calibrate, how you will describe the final offer. For me, it's really important to have access to DNA from different potentially clinical specimen. It can be saliva, it can be blood, it can be urine, it can be different stuff. But basically, according to the specimen type, some volumes are more relevant than other. So if you can. Typically for blood, it can go from a drop of blood, only a few microliters, up to 10 ml, a whole vacutainer. For saliva, it's typically 500 milliliter that potentially we might put it in the system. So it's kind of large volume. So it means if you do cartridge, I don't know if you will have a chamber where when you pipe it, where you store the liquids, and this chamber having a different volume according to the flavor of cartridge, if you want. But that's important consideration for me as a potential partner and customer.
Okay. Yeah, we can go on to the next slide. Yeah, so these are the values for the custom, like how it would be a good product. And you have I think maybe the end-to-end automation is one of the best advantages.
If it's end-to-end portable,
yes,
and I would say affordable, that's definitively a great fit for the market. Yeah, even if you don't have initially a wide range of clinical specimen, I mean, if you can work from, something valuable. Well, we are working a lot with saliva currently for genetic testing, but I think, affordability is really important. The portability is important, and obviously the automatization is very, very important, because we don't want to lose time, preparing the sample. We need other stuff to do. So it should be completely independent process we can rely on.
Okay, so I have introduced the product, then we have discussed about that part. So in the next step, we have some prepared questions there for you, and we really want to hear your opinion about these questions. So it's about 7 questions, so we can go one by one. Is it okay?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So because I think we have a different question for the customers and for these guys who are not using the product, but for the decision makers. I think it might be better to use the questions as a potential custom for you, right?
I suppose, yeah. Even if I provided valuable insight also about the market and partnership and different stuff, but yeah, let's say that I am a potential customer.
Okay, I can see it. Okay, let's go to the first question. So the first question is, like how in your company or in your how do you currently prepare your samples?
Good question. Currently I don't. Basically, what we do is that we outsource to a company which is doing the DNA extraction for us, and it's painful. It's painful because we have to send our sample to this company, and this company is sending these to their lab, which is located in mainland Europe. So it means it's a lot of delays. It's expensive, and we don't have the mastery of what they do when, and we don't have much visibility. So currently, it's not very satisfying solution. So it means in the future, we want to develop our own small lab in which we can do in the field DNA extraction, sequencing, and analysis in the cloud. We already have our servers in the cloud. We already have a MinION sequencing device, but we are missing the DNA extraction. So we are looking for a solution for that. So it's not urgent, but typically Q1 2020, we will be actively looking for a solution.
Okay, good. So then the second, so why? So you have told us you sent the samples to the companies. Why did you choose this method for your sample preparation?
So good question. Why I selected this company is first because of the range of services they can provide downstream of DNA extraction. So they have no particular expertise in DNA extraction. So I sent these to them because I wanted them to perform downstream analysis, so more services. So they are not, DNA extraction specialists, but I do consider that on my particular specimen, it's not a difficult extraction. So it's really a matter of more project management than relying on the expertise of somebody that is an expert in DNA extraction.
Okay, so that's why you choose this method. And the third question. So what do you think the advantage and disadvantage of your current sample preparation methods?
There are many disadvantages and only one or two advantage. So the main advantage is basically that I just send the sample once and I don't have to do anything. It's just like everything is handled, and if they have a failure, they do it again, and it's no additional work for me. The disadvantage is that it's costly. It's way too expensive. I have no visibility on where is my sample at any time, when it's going to be extracted, and so on. And I can't improve the process. So it means if something is less good than usual, I can't have an idea about why and to provide a feedback. So it's a kind of, there is a tunnel effect. It's like a black box where I send my stuff and hopefully it will work, but I have no idea when, how they will perform it. I just know that I will be charged for that, which is not great. On top of that, it's not to rely on an external provider like this, it's not compatible with our long-term vision, which is to develop our own capacity. So we are more prone to buy a product rather than to buy a service on this.
Okay, so that's why the disadvantage of the like you assume that so that's I think it also goes to the fourth question. I think that would you consider an automated solution, or are you already using an automated system? Like, yeah, I think you.
So I already partially answered that. So yes, I do want an automated solution. I don't want something which is too manual, because it would not be compatible with the idea of scalability. So I want not only something which is end-to-end automatization, but also something which is flexible in terms of throughput. So it means if you can run several cartridges at the same time, that's great, either in one instrument or several instruments that are independent or connected or stacked together. But that would be my need.
Okay, so you want to add automated and flexible preparation method.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so the fifth question, how would you describe an ideal sample preparation method, and what features would you like to have?
An ideal sample preparation method is something which is very robust. It's never failing. It's always a valid run, and at the end we always have something. It might be something which is not the greatest purity or amount of DNA, for instance, but we do have something, because in my business we can always re-amplify the DNA. So what we must avoid is a failure in extraction, something which is the machine is not reliable and the cartridge is broken, or we lose a sample. We don't want to lose a sample. They are really important. So I prefer to have something which is more robust, rather than something which is very good in extracting the maximum amount of DNA.
Okay, so robust is the most important feature that you want to.
Yeah, robustness, automatization is very important. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so you want to have a robust system. So the sixth question, if you have if we have this product, would you consider to use this product the product from this company, like what I said, the automated microfluidic system?
Absolutely. It depends, of course, if I can afford it. But if it's something which is in the usual, range of prices, I would absolutely consider it, especially if I can provide feedback and adjust it, adapt it to my needs. Yeah.
Okay, it means that if it's a price is affordable, you will be very likely to buy one, right?
Yeah, so I would like to buy one, or to do a co-development agreement. Currently, we do have some projects ongoing, including in Africa, where we do need a lab capacity. So we bought some integrated system. You probably know them. We do have access to Bento Lab or Feles One. But what is missing is a part which is just upstream, and that would be a good fit. If it's a portable and robust system, that would be a good fit to go in our portable lab. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So the seventh question, so what do you think must be some of the benefits and challenges in implementing our system, and also how much would you in the second part, how much would you be willing to pay for this product?
Oh, okay. That's a triple question: the benefit, the challenge, and the cost I'm willing to pay. So I will begin with one of the most difficult part, which is the cost.
Yeah.
How much I'm willing to pay? Well, I'm willing to pay something which is the same amount I'm paying right now or less, for a better service. So typically you can you can say that an extraction, if I do it myself, if I go in a biohacker space and I take my lab and I do it, basically in reagents, I will spend few pounds, several pounds per sample. However, I don't want to do that. So I'm ready to pay a bit more, typically 10, 15 pounds per sample. If it's robust, I'm not losing the sample, it's always working, and I have obviously a good service around the machine. If the service is going down, I can have a good hotline to send me a new machine and so on. So I would say it's more in terms of the cost is more in terms of per sample. So what I would love to have is something which is less than 20 pounds per sample as a cost, with a cost which is obviously less if I buy more cartridges. So something like, okay, I buy 1,000 cartridges, now it's only 10 pounds a cartridge. The machine itself, I think the machine should be simple enough, because if it's a robust machine, it means that it's not full of electronics that can, and a lot of stuff can go wrong. It's a robust machine, so I don't expect a robust machine like potentially electromechanical and stuff like this to be very expensive. I try always to have my, because it's a portable lab, so we can lose suitcase or we can have a problem in the field. I always try to have machines which are less than 1,000 pounds, which is a challenge. I agree, but if it's not the
1,000 pounds for the machine, right?
Yeah,
Let's go.
that's our typical range of price.
Yes.
If it's not compatible with what you guys have in mind, then we might consider a kind of leasing business model where you provide the machine for free and we pay the cartridges a little bit more.
Yeah. So that means you, yeah, that's also another model.
Okay. Right? So regarding the two other parts of your question, which are the challenges and the benefit, the challenges are you have a lot of players already in the field. You have big companies already selling kits, which are not very difficult to use. I'm thinking about Kiagen, for instance, or different companies. These are very easy to use. Even if we hire a trainee and we buy the kit, it's always working. So one of the challenges to have something which is as good as that, because they spent millions and millions of dollars, optimizing these kits, and they have very good performance. So it can be, kits, or it can be also machine. So some suppliers are already providing different machines which are extremely efficient in doing the lysis. I'm thinking about OmniLyse, for instance, which is a very good system. There are other systems on the market, and I do expect more newcomers, more people to come on the market with solution. So one of the challenges is the competitive landscape, I would say, because it's not the first time that a company tried to have a robust, fully automatized sample prep. So that's a challenge. As a result, one of the challenges is probably that this company got IP, so they patented their solution. So it means on top of the competitive landscape, the IP landscape can be crowded. So to invent a sample prep which is affordable, quick, robust, and so on, you may have to revisit some basic assumption and to reinvent it. So it's a lot of challenge in terms of innovation, because it means thinking out of the box. It means check all the patents on the table to check which one is now obsolete, is more than 20 years old, and which technology can be reused, and how to twist it to have this little something which makes a product innovative and very interesting and easy to protect from an IP point of view. So the challenge are important, because it's a market which it's not a blue sea. I mean, it's a red sea full of sharks, and it's not easy to go in this direction, but there is a big market, because genetic testing, for instance, is exploding. So it means a lot of samples to analyze, and I'm pretty convinced that the cake is bigger and bigger. So if you can have even a small slice of this cake, it's I do suspect that it's potentially good business. The challenge are also potentially an innovative solution might impose you guys to have many different skills in the team. People able to, electronic engineers, potentially biologists, molecular biologists, enzymologists, physicists, and so on. And if you need a truly multidisciplinary team, it would mean that you will burn cash. It will be difficult to hire all these people to make them work together and so on. So it's potentially a ticket which is expensive. To set up the right team, to have all the different skills is a challenge too. So I would say these are the main three challenges I see. Mm-hmm. Obviously, regarding the last part of this question, regarding the benefits, the benefits are potentially huge if you can make it, because as I said before, the market is big, the market is growing, and I think this market is going to grow for tens of years. I don't see any way to stop this market from growing, because entire continent, I'm thinking about South America or some part of Asia or Africa, are just like starting to invest into the clinical space, and sample prep is very, how to say, if you don't have sample prep, you have nothing, in particular in diagnostic. So sample prep is something which is the very first step in which they will invest. So I do suspect that if you have a system which is not complicated to set up, where you don't need highly skilled people to set it up. It means that potentially you address developing country markets, and that would be a huge benefit, because suddenly you can directly sell to charities, NGOs, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, or the big one. And I think one of the benefits would typically to be able to do B2B on top of the B2C.
Okay, so thank you. So I mean, so it has to be a robust and good device. Secondly, we have to consider that we have to compete with the competitors in terms of the patents and other things. Mm-hmm. Also, the third one is you have to find a good team with different skills to develop this product. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, I may so these are the main other 7 questions that we prepared, and I may have like 1 or 2 more questions that we discussed yesterday, and I think that would be we can finish that in several minutes, right?
Yeah, that's okay? Perfectly fine. Yeah.
Okay, so another question, like from your point of view, like what's the market that would better to penetrate? The specific target that is the best one to go into first?
In my opinion, but I am extremely biased. So just like take what I say cautiously, because I have a partial view of the market. Yeah. So I would say that one of the markets which is growing the quickest currently is DNA sequencing. Yes. So I would go personally into this market, especially if you can have a device which is extremely sensitive, because what we will see in the future is that the diagnostic assays will be decentralized. So instead of having all the samples from an hospital and you send them to a remote lab and they do the analysis and they send back the result, what I do foresee in the future and near-term future is that more and more often people will do a crude sample prep at point of need, potentially in emergency use in the hospital, and have directly potentially a sequencing on this. So I can see that in my day-to-day life, because people are trying to do sample prep, for instance, on blood and sequence and detect directly bacterial infection from blood, or they try to do genetic testing directly on saliva, in front of the customer. So it's definitively for me a market which is important to address. And at the same time, as you have potentially many different clinical specimens, you can always begin by an easy specimen type. When I think about easy specimen type, it would be typically urine or saliva.
Okay, thank you. That's I think the gene sequencing will be like, you believe that maybe the best market at the moment, right?
I think so, because there are more and more machines coming in this market, and a lot of people are now investing in DNA sequencer, and they realize that the upstream process is still painful. So I know that it will be a need, a growing need from the market.
Okay, let's have the last question. It's a bit tough question. So why do you think we can fail?
I think, yeah, it's if the question is why you think this company is going to succeed,
Yes.
I would say because maybe I will surprise you, but I would say first because of the personality of the founders. I think they have this tenacity. So because you can always hire people with the skills. I do think that typically, for instance, Kiata, he got this vision and this willingness to address this market, and I'm pretty sure he's really committed. So I would say one of the best assets of the company is probably the resilience and the commitment of the founders.
Yeah. So the commitment and really, yeah. Okay, I think that's all the questions.
Okay, very good. If you have any further questions, feel free to call me back. I will be happy to answer.
Yeah, so we may use this your answers and analyze your answers to have a good to have feedback, and then we can use the some of the answers. Okay, I really grateful for your time, and thank you for the interview.
Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you.